Simeon, there was another old person there as well, a woman, Anna of Phanuel, of the tribe of Asher. Now, Asher is one of those 10 tribes that were taken by the Assyrians 720 years earlier and scattered to the other side of the Euphrates, never to be heard of again. But there are remnants of all these other tribes that survived. In fact, as the northern kingdom fell into greater idolatry from the 10th century onwards, many from the north fled and crossed into Judea. Okay, so that's why you have different tribal individuals living in the south. So there were remnants of other tribes that are living at this time. When we say Jews, it's a generic term for all the Israelites at that time. But strictly speaking, all Jews were Israelites, but not all Israelites were Jews. So I read a book once which said that Samson was a good Jew. No, he wasn't. He was a good Danite. He was from the tribe of Dan. He wasn't from the tribe of Judah. So he's not a Jew. But in common parlance, we call him a Jew. But strictly speaking, he's a Danite. And St Paul was a Benjaminite. But in the language of the New Testament, they're all under the general term Jew. And there was a prophetess, Anna, the daughter of Phanuel, of the tribe of Asher. There weren't many female prophetesses in ancient Israel, but there were a number. Miriam, Deborah, Huldah, and Anna is also a prophetess. She was of a great age, having lived with her husband 7 years from her virginity, and as a widow till she was 84. Now, 84 is a good age by today's standards. My mother's 84 at the moment. She's hanging in there, thanks God. But 84 was a monumental age at this time. The average age of people in the first century Roman Empire was 42. Zachariah and Elizabeth are called old, but they're not yet 50. We know they're not yet 50 because Zachariah was still practicing the priesthood. When we read in the book of Exodus, there was a compulsory retirement age for all priests of the Levitical priesthood by the age of 50. And they're considered old, they're not yet 50. So what would someone like Anna, daughter of Phanuel, would have been considered? Monumental age. Some translations, like the Knox translation, has her at over 100. She's married, then 7 years married, then 84 years after that, a widow. That's probably not the correct translation. She's probably married around the age of 14, 15, stayed married until she was about 22, 23, and she's been a widow for 60 plus years since then, and now she's 84. Still a monumental age for that time. She did not depart from the temple, worshipping with fasting and prayer night and day, which means she was very regularly in the temple every day. Doing those acts we Catholics think are normal for a deep, penitential, prayerful, spiritual life. And coming up at that very hour, she gave thanks to God, and she saw what happened, and she has that interior enlightenment from the Holy Spirit. Likewise, this is the one who is coming to bring consolation and redemption to Israel. And she spoke of him to all who were looking for the redemption of Jerusalem. So imagine this old woman, wonderful old woman, talking so excitingly to everyone in the temple at this time about this child who's just been presented. He is the one. He is the Messiah. He's the one who's going to redeem Israel. And that doesn't mean take Israel back from the Romans, but take Israel and the whole of humanity out of the domination of Lucifer. That's what redemption means. This is my book. If Father steals my book, he shouldn't have it. I get it back off him, I've redeemed it. The devil has dominion over humanity. He shouldn't. Jesus Christ will be sent into the world to redeem humanity, to take humanity out of the dominion of Lucifer and back under the dominion of God. We wrap up now, verse 39. And when they had performed everything according to the law of the Lord, they returned into Galilee. Holy Family, back into Galilee, back up north, to their own city, Nazareth. And the child grew and became strong, filled with wisdom, and the favour of God was upon him. Does anyone see a problem with what Luke says? There's a big problem. That's right. There's a huge problem with what Luke says. According to Luke, after the presentation, after the purification, after the redemption ceremonies, the Holy Family goes back to Nazareth. But Matthew doesn't say that. Matthew says what? There's this star of Bethlehem. There's these wise men, at least 3 of them. The star stops over Jerusalem. The wise men visit Herod. Herod says, tell me where this child is, and I too will come and worship him. The star moves on to Bethlehem. The 3 wise men follow the star, and they're before the Holy Family, and they present the gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. The angel warns the 3 wise men, do not go back to Herod. He's duplicitous. He wants to destroy the child. So, the 3 wise men go back in a different direction. Herod later is furious. Herod decides to attack Bethlehem and kill all the children, boys under the age of 2. St Gabriel talks to St Joseph in a dream, flee to Egypt. Holy Family gets up, flees to Egypt. They're there for 2 or 3 years. Herod the Great dies. The angel says to St Joseph, come back now. It's safe. They go back towards Bethlehem. They find out that the worst of Herod's sons, Archelaus, is ruling in Judea. They go back to Nazareth. So, why doesn't Luke mention all this? There are different theories. The worst theory is that Matthew was a liar. He made it all up. It didn't happen. You get these theories out there. These theories are out there with modernist scholars today. As I said, if you want to follow these scholars, you end up going to believe in nothing. The other theory is that Luke just didn't know about these events at all, which is why he didn't record them. I find that very hard to believe. If he's there with Mary and researching, I find that very difficult to believe that these major events are unknown to Luke when he writes his gospel. The other theory is that he's simply summarising the events, doesn't need to repeat everything relating to the star, the wise men, Herod, the flight into Egypt, the massacre of the innocents in Bethlehem, etc. Doesn't feel the need to rewrite that because it's already there in Matthew's gospel, and just abbreviates, summarises the situation and talks about the return to Nazareth as the same return that's mentioned by Matthew in chapter 2. That's probably the more plausible of the 3 theories. All right. Thank you. We'll finish there. God bless.